Right, so that's all the little holes done. Now we've got to position this without moving the glass around too much. Another batch, almost as much again. But what that'll do is it'll mean whilst I'm messing around rolling the top, I've got more time till I get down to the bottom to work it. I'll mix up a big enough batch to do it all in one, it starts going off, you know, before I get to the bottom, I'm buggered basically. I don't have access to a laminating resin, which is most unfortunate because that would make life a lot easier. Yeah, I don't need quite as much. I've got over half of it done. Get some acetone afterwards because we have got resin flicks everywhere. This surface is done really, it's waiting for gel coat. Hopefully that'll do us. I'd rather mix up, well, I'd rather mix up exactly the right amount. But if I mix up slightly over, and I have to throw a little bit away, that's fine. As long as it's not too much. I don't want to be wasting it. If you do that every time, it's going to get expensive. I don't know what it's taken, about 20 minutes or so, maybe coming up half hour for me to do this little bit. What a massive area, but it's an achievement, you know. It's another area that's done and moving forward. I haven't got to keep looking at thinking, oh yeah, still got to do that. It's, you know, it's getting there. I was hoping to get both sides done today, but I just don't think it's going to happen. So I don't want to rush it and balls it up and have a mess, you know. I'd rather do one side well than do two sides poorly and end up with a mess that I've got to start sanding or grinding off and redoing. Because that won't be good. It's just a waste of time and money, you know. Resin and glass, you know, it's not the most expensive thing in the world, but it ain't cheap if you're going to keep throwing it away. Yes, we've got a little high spot there, a couple of low spots there, but that's not too bad. I've got that top bit quite nicely. Well, basically, I'm pretty much out of glass. I ain't got a lot left, so this is what it is. I could have gone all the way around the window, filling all the spots, but it doesn't matter. Right, blimey, compared to the original surface, it'll be like a palace in here. It was awful, the pits and voids and whatnot that were in it. Terrible, absolute terrible. It might have been acceptable when it was made back in the 70s, but not acceptable for me, not in the slightest. Yeah, way too much resin. Really hard to gauge how much is left, how much you need. You know. Like I say, I'd rather throw a little bit of resin away than knock a bit up and have to knock a bit more up, knock a bit more. You know, by the time I've messed about doing that, this lot's got to be going off. And I'll grab my roller and it'll be set. I don't want to mess about like that. I'd rather just get it done. Not too much over. Enough, but not too much. Not the end of the world. Right, there. There we're looking. I can put a bit excess on and then roll it out. I don't want it to go dry because I put a few layers up here. That'll suck that resin up. I'd rather a little excess on the surface and roll it out. Better. There we go. Right, there's a little bit of glass to go in there. Perfect. We'll use up this last bit of resin. That should tie these two areas together so we've not got such a low spot there, and that should use up the last of this resin. Up a wee bit. Well, just at 2 miles worth of gel coat this quickly and let it set up, or to let it set a bit so it's tacky and then filler it. Still not made my mind up, to be honest. Yeah, that top section was really drinking that resin. It was soaking in. You can see it disappearing. Well, I'll try my larger roller. See how we do. Might need the small one. Yeah, this touching at the edges. It's not necessarily touching in the middle. It's not very good. I'm going to use the smaller one. Loads of excess resin there now, look. Well, that's a good thing with a roller, is you can take that out. Very hard to get it back in if it starts drying. It's impossible, basically. We've got no hope. So no pressure, just pretty much using the roller on its own. You know, I'm not pushing on it, no forcing it in. Go over it a few times or something, you know, until you get your hair out, take off the excess, but don't keep going over it, rolling the resin out until it's dry. So I've rolled it up, squashing the excess up the top now. I'm going to roll it down to the window so then the excess comes out the bottom there. There's still excess resin there, it's still wet. And I'm consolidating all those layers together now. So where I've got 2 or 3 layers in places, this is squashing or consolidating those layers together. Squashing is probably the wrong word because I'm not pushing with any pressure, you know, but it is sort of squashing them together. But don't confuse squashing with pushing on it hard, you know, to force it together. That's not what I'm doing at all. There's no pressure at all going on this. It's like resting the roller on it and just letting it glide over the top. And you'll just see that excess resin rolling off. What I've got there is I caught a little hair sticking out, look, and it just plucked at the glass. So you watch for that. Don't want any bits to stick up. And pull away from the original surface because that will give you basically an air void behind it. roll the excess out of the window opening there. See that excess rolling up there. I'm going to work this out a little bit and flatten this lump off slightly. Not forcing it, just rolling it out, and the glass is soft now. The resin's worn into it, or worked into it. It softens the glass, same as when you're working it round your corners. And if you keep on just stroking it down gently, it stretches it out. A little low spot there, high bit there. But the glass should have a nice wet look to it. It shouldn't look dry. It should be glossy. Not soaked. You don't want any pooling of resin on the surface. See that excess just rolling out to the edge there. With a gentle roll. Yeah, that's all you're doing. Working off that excess that's floating on the surface, basically. It'll be fairly quick. I don't want this to start going off yet. The resin in the pot's still good, so if we do need to make any little adjustments, which I'm going to dob in a bit over there in a second, we can still do so. There we go. Job's a good one. Move that in a wee bit. Off the excess. Really gently. There we go. Right, that's done. I've got a low spot there and there. This will basically stop me having to use quite so much filler. Strands fell down like that. Look. It's all good. Yeah, it's quite low there, so just want to build it up a little bit. And that bit there. Wispy bits that are just stuck out there, just got to coat them with a bit of resin, tap them all down. There we go, beautiful. Shouldn't be a lot of excess in this bit, just a tiny little bit over the top. I used mainly the resin that was sitting there already, with a tiny little dollop so it's not dry. See, all this is still moving around, so it's almost like the jelly, the glass moving, wobbling around together now. So as you conform it together, Although I put a little patch in there, it becomes at one with the rest of them. And that is beautiful. There we go, done. Roller straight into acetone when you're finished, clean it off. There's quite a few splashes on there, but I don't want to have to sand off, you know. Well, not bad at all. I used pretty much most of that. Tiny little bit of resin left over. Right, there we go, all done. So we've glassed that whole section in, just tying it into the underside of the deck. I've not gone round too far today. And we've gone all the way down to the cupboard there. And I've tied in this little end with a piece there. So what I'll have to do next time is put some glass around there to build that upper layer, thicken that bottom up, basically, to match in with the top. You know, I might even be able to get away with just fairing it down and smoothing it out that way. I might not need to glass it up, we'll see. Yeah, I can work that out later. But for now, that bit's done. I'm going to let that set up, and then I've got to decide, am I going to brush it with gel coat and then sand it all, or am I going to smear it with some filler and sand that and it's ready to gel coat? I think that would probably be the better option. Probably more sanding if I filler it, you know, trying to get it smoothed out. But, you know, give me a better finish, I dare say. Right. Still waiting for that to dry. It's nearly 2 o'clock now. I can't hang on much longer. I need to go and get some more glass, otherwise I can't even come down to Sunday and do much more, because I'm about out. I might just have enough to do the other side, but that'll be it, and then I've got none. So I want to go buy some more glass before the shop's shut. So basically that's all done and glassed. I've got the heater on, but it's just not drying quick enough. But I was hoping to just spread some filler over the top of it, fair it up, shape it, you know, with a bit of filler. Then next time I come down, I've just got to sand that off, get it all flat and smooth, and then it's ready for painting, you know. So that's where I'm at the moment. I'm waiting to see how much it goes off before I've got to get out of here. It's still too wet. I could probably get away with gel coating it very shortly. I'm not going to get away with spreading filler over it. You know, running a spreader across it, dragging stuff across the surface is going to move the glass. And basically, once that's all flatted off, I'll flat off these couple of bits here that needed doing. I still need to finish that. I'm not worried about that because I'm on to other things now. When I've got the sander out, I'll do that. I'll get the flat sander out and I'll take those off, take all that off, and then I'll whack some fairing compound over all of this. You know, get it all covered. The top bit's all nicely done. Just need to transition that bit there so that that all blends in nicely. And I think we're there. So that's that side done then. So yeah, I think if I get some gel coat on that, and then I'll sand it next time I come down, and we'll fair the whole lot in together, running across all of that, and bring it all together into one. And that is literally all of that done then. Then all I've got to do is this top section here and the front section there, you know, down the front of that window. But we're pretty much there now. So I've done this half, I've got that little bit there to do, and across the front. So I'm gradually knocking it off a little bit at a time. So that's that side done. I've still got the opposite side to do, and the front I just don't think it will. I'm going to hang on here as long as I can, mix up some gel coat and slap that over. That's got to be the way to go. Slap some gel coat on it before I go, and I'll get out of here, go pick the kids up, go get some more glass so that I've got some for the weekend. Right, I'm going to call that it for now, and I'll pop back if I with what I get done, whether I gel coat or fair it. Depends how long I can hang on. Okay, welcome back. So amazingly, I've had the heater on and it suddenly just went jump and it's all gone off nicely. So I've mixed up some filler and I'm going to give that a little spread out over there, and then we can get out of here. So I thought I was going to end up having to gel coat it. I just didn't think it was going to dry in time. I've cleaned my spreader board off as well. I've got the grinder out. Now I've mixed up a bit of filler out. I'm hoping not to get it on too thick. I just want to drag it over the surface and fill all the little imperfections in the glass. That's the idea. Not looking to build it up. I don't want too much of a build. Too worried about that top bit up here, because that's all going to be hidden, but that will need to be sanded before I can do anything else with it. I'll get that spreader in that way. So we'll give it a little light dashing. I'm not going to worry about the top bit because that I'll just sand. I just don't want to sand all the glass away, that's all. Right, that's on. And I'll just work that into all the pores of the glass. Smooth it out, try and even it out a wee bit so it's nice and level. It might need a second coat, we'll see. We'll find out at a later time, next time I come back. How well we done. There might be a couple of bits missed that I need to recover. It might not be quite flat enough, so again, might need a little more coverage. Right to that edge there. Pretty much used all the filler. I'm just going through the scrapings now. So. Bit on the right, I think, was out of the heat zone, not quite as dry. Obviously this was stopping the heat from getting over there. There we go. I don't expect it's going to be absolutely perfectly level. As long as when I've finished sanding it, it looks flat and smooth. It doesn't have to be level from top to bottom, left to right, 100%. You know what I mean? It's just needs to look presentable. Sun's going in there. A little bit there, a little low. Looking bad. couple of little low spots there. I'll work it out with a spreader through the fault. Right, I think that's it. I'm going to leave it like that. I'll keep touching it and I'll end up ruining it. It'll look as close as you can get it. And then you go one little bit too far and ruin it. That's it. Alright, that's me done. I'll scrape that off, leave that to dry. There we go. So actually managed to get some filler on it, so that's ready to sand next time. So that filler will take out most of the lines now. Probably better than the gel coat would have done. There's still a few there. I mean, what I could do is let that set up and then gel coat over the top of it, you know. And then that'll give me even more to sand. More layers, you know, so I'm not sanding right through the glass. But I think, yeah, I think we'll deal with one surface at a time. I could literally gel coat over the top of that and then sand it all back in one. So where I go through the gel coat into the filler and but I think I'd be better off just letting it set, sanding the fairing compound and then gel coating it afterwards, because if I've got any little low spots I'll have to redo them anyway. Right, that's me done for now. We'll let that set up and I'll come down, what is it, Tuesday today, so we'll come down Sunday and have a look and see how that come out. Then we've got some trimming to do and some sanding. Get this side faired up and that is done. I've got a block to stick in up there. So I'm going to leave that to set up. We'll come back Sunday and we'll trim it all up and sand it down. Run the little belt grinder around there, trim out the porthole, get that back to shape. Along the bottom edge there, we'll trim that off. And that is another bit done. Happy days. Right, thank you very much for watching Life of Dave. I've managed to get some done today, even though I felt terrible this morning. I'm feeling a little bit better now, although the old nose is still dripping. But we're getting there. So we've managed to get that section over there glassed in today, and I've got some fairing compound on it. So that'll all go off like hot coating in one sort of go. So the glass and the filler will go off together. I'm going to let it set up for now, and we'll come back on Sunday and we'll give that a sand down and trim it all. Thank you all for watching Life of Dave. Hope you enjoyed what I'm doing. Give us a like and a subscribe if you do, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye for now.